Okay, here's the rest of this worksheet packet that you guys got the other day. So we're going to start on this page that says prime versus composite. First of all, we're going to fill in the blank. So a prime number is a whole number with only one set of two factors. A set of factors is two, so one set. In other words, it is evenly divisible only by itself or one. So on examples here, everybody should have this written because everybody's following along. So this is how we're going to show our factors. We're going to write the number and then a line. The first example we're going to do together is 7. And then you're going to have like a little T underneath here. So we're going to start with 1 because that's an easy one that we all know. So 1 times what is 7? 7. So now we're trying to get to something to where we run into the same number and start going up the other side. So does 2 go into 7? Nope, can't use 2. What about 3? 3 doesn't go into 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't end up running into any. So the only set of factors is 1 and 7. So our factors for 7 are just 1 and 7. It is a prime number. The next example we're going to do is 19. We're going to do our T chart here. So 1 times 19 is 19. Now I could go through and count all the way, but I've already said it's an example of a prime number. That is the only set of factors that 19 is going to have. So one more. What about 2? Is 2 a prime number? Well, it's 1 and 2. And then the next number higher than 1 would be 2, but we've already included it here. It would be 2 times 1. The reverse is we can't count it again. It's the same thing, 1 times 2. So 2 is a prime number. So the first 7 prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17. It's probably a good idea to remember these. We're going to end up using them a lot once we start factoring out numbers with prime factorization. The number 2, so go ahead and fill that one in. The number 2 is the only even number out of all the even numbers that gets to be a prime number. That's because all the other prime numbers after 2 have 1 in themselves and then at least 2 as another factor because they're prime or because they're even numbers. Okay, so now on to this next part. A composite, if you want to know how to spell it, it's right up here. A composite number is a whole number with at least one factor in addition to itself and 1. Prime numbers are just 1 in themselves. A composite number is anything else. If there are any other factors, it's composite. So we're going to have a few examples here. So let's do 22. So 1 times 22 would be 22. What about 2? 2 will go into 22. 2 times 11. 3 won't go. 4 won't. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When we get to 11, we've already made it back over to this side. So that's it. There are 2 sets of factors because there's this pair, this pair. So it is a composite number. What about, let's do 16. So the first one we have 1 and 16. What about 2 and 8? And then we have 3 won't go into 16, but our next one is 4 times 4. If we were going to list these out in order on one of the next pages, we're going to end up listing them. Since 4 times 4 is 16, yes, we put it twice on here because it means that 4 times 4 is 16. But if we were going to list this out, it would be 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. We wouldn't list it twice when we list it out here. Make sure when we go to list them out down here, make sure they are in numerical order. We'll get to that more on the other page. And let's do, what about 20? This number. So 20, we have 1 and 20. That's an easy one to start with. 2 goes into 20. Goes into 20 10 times. 3 does not go into 20. 4 goes into 20 though. So 4 times 5 is 20. The next number up would be 5. We've already started on this side and we'd be going up this side. So we're done. 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20. Those would be our factors. And if we want to over here, we could list them out there too. So all of these 3 are composite numbers. A prime is just going to have 1 in itself. Composite is if it has any more besides 1 in itself. So on the next page, it says list all positive factors of each number, then tell whether or not the number is prime or composite. Show your list of factors on a piece of notebook paper with a table, then list them here separated by commas in numerical order and tell whether the number is prime or composite. If you want to just put P or C, that's fine with me. I definitely did not mean for that to rhyme, but it did. Okay, so we're going to use our piece of notebook paper that you got at the beginning of class because it was on the supply board. So I'll do the first couple with you. So for 29, we're going to draw on our notebook paper 29. We're going to do our teacher. So 1 times 29 is 29. I'm going to save some time counting through things. 29 is a prime number. Those are going to be our only factors. So over here, we could have counted through and like I could have told you no on all of them, but that would be a silly waste of time. So on here, 1 and 29, those are my factors. And then if it's just 1 in itself, is it prime or composite? I really hope your answer is prime. 20, seems like we maybe have done that one before. So 20, we have 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. You could flip back over to the other page if you wanted to. So we'll list them out in numerical order. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, and then it is composite. And since we did 20 on the other page, we did 22 on the other page too, for example. Well, I guess you have 3 of them done for you. So you can copy it from the other page and then you'll be working on 18. On the bottom part of this, you can do, these ones are all the same thing. List out the factors with a table on a piece of notebook paper, then list them out in order separated by commas on here, and then tell me is it prime or composite. On the bottom of this is a review of divisibility stuff we did yesterday. So it just says, it's just a yes. If you want to write it yourself, it's just yes or no. If you want to write Y or N, that's fine with me as long as I can tell which letter is a Y and which one's an N with your penmanship. So, can we divide 954 by 9? I remember the rule for 9. If you need to, flip over to this divisibility chart. But I remember the rule for 9 says if you add up all the numbers and it's divisible by 9, then that number is divisible by 9. So, 9 plus 5 would be 14, plus another 4 would be 18. Is 18 divisible by 9? Yes. Then 954 will also be divisible by 9. On this one, I know the rule for tens is if it ends in a 0, it's divisible by 10. So there are a few more here. These should be pretty quick. You're using those divisibility rules. Okay, that's it. You're finishing this page, and if you didn't finish the one from yesterday, you've got that one to work on too.